What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to Drinks After Work with Shelly Nicole. How's everybody doing? I hope everybody had a great Monday. My Monday was very relaxing. I didn't do much today. I didn't really feel like it. I think between me working out and between me working overtime, just sometimes you just want to have a day of just not moving. And that's how I feel. I literally feel like I don't want to move. And the weather today is just not as good as it was yesterday. It was 65 degrees yesterday. We were in spring heaven. But today we're back to reality. It is still winter. So for all you guys that wore shorts and clothes that didn't make any sense, understand you need to put your jackets back on. Thank you. But I hope everybody had a good day. And I hope everybody enjoyed their self and didn't let things get to them. And even if it didn't go your way today, it's okay. Life has its ups and downs, a bunch of trials and tribulations, but it's all right. So today we're going to be talking about overcoming loneliness. Now, this isn't specific to male or female. I feel like this is gender neutral. I feel like this can be anybody. I feel like it can literally be anyone, especially when you're in your... It can be anybody, but I really feel like this is more for people who are in their 30s and in their 40s who are experiencing... who are not in a relationship, who are not yet married, who don't have kids, or maybe do have kids but not married. People who are just single and wanting a relationship and waiting for one to happen. And feeling as if well, what's the problem? Why can't I find someone who meets all my needs? And, what do I do during the time of me being by myself? And like I said, it's gender neutral because I don't feel like men have to do it one way and females have to do it one way. I feel like it's a human thing, and we all just have to figure out where we fit in or how we're going to move in our life when we don't have somebody else there as a companion or as a partner. And it's really critical that you know how to overcome being lonely and feeling sorry for yourself and not getting the things that you want, or not expecting to be in a situation that you thought you would have been in by now, especially when it comes to your age. But before we get into that, I hope you guys got your drink, whatever you're drinking, tequila, vodka, bourbon, whatever. I'm drinking red wine today. I'm very much so into red wine. I'm not really big on hard liquor anymore. I don't think I can't. The recovery time is 2 to 3 business days, and I can't. It really be bothering me. Why can't I recover from being after drinking? It takes so long. But I'm drinking martini. I said martini, red wine. Sorry. And I did want a martini. And don't judge me. I'm eating mangoes at the same time. I wanted some mangoes, so I'm eating mangoes. It probably doesn't sound right, but, whatever. Suits my needs for right now. So, let's get into it. And before we even get into it, I don't want... It's not a judge... It's a judge-free zone, obviously, right? How you get over loneliness is clearly a personal thing. But as always, I'm going to tell the truth. As always, I'm going to spill my truth and also be a helping hand, if you will, when it comes to overcoming and how I overcame my own loneliness, especially when I thought by a certain age I would be married, I'd have kids by now, life would be completely different than what it is right now. And while it's not bad, it's really not bad. It's actually a beautiful. My life has been great, ups and downs. And I've learned to come to the understanding of that. That I didn't have that mindset. Like literally, I didn't wake up one day and just had that mindset all the time. I literally woke up one day and was just like, it could be way worse. It could really be way worse. So just being grateful. But how I overcame my own loneliness. And again, I didn't write anything down. I've been very busy this week. Like I said, gym, overtime, catching up on sleep. So I didn't get to write anything down as I usually do. But I feel like certain things I don't need to write down because it just comes from the heart. And I just like speak on exactly what it is I know when it comes to certain subjects. And this is one of the things that I know relatively well, if you will. So the first thing is you have to accept where you are. You have to accept the fact that, yes, you are alone. Like, you literally have to be that brutal with yourself and say, yes, I'm by myself. Granted, and when I say you're by yourself, I don't mean that you don't have friends. I don't mean you don't have family. I mean that you just have, it's just you. Like, you're not in a relationship when I say, you're by yourself. You have to learn to accept that. It's hard to accept. It's hard to come to the realization that, damn, let's just say like I'm 37. I'm 38. I'm not in a relationship. I'm by myself yet again. This relationship that I was in failed again. And I've been dating and nothing's working. You have to just understand, okay, this is where I'm at. And again, it's hard to do. It's really hard to just accept things for what it is when you know you want what you want. But you have to just come to the understanding and be in the present and be in the now that this is where I'm at. And having to be okay with where you're at. You can't be, I think everybody's heard the saying, how are you going to make someone else happy if you can't make yourself happy? If you can't be by yourself, you can't be with someone else. And for a long time, I even think for myself, I had this thought like, I wouldn't say I was a serial dater or serial relationshipper, like always in a relationship. Because I had my moments of being by myself. I think it was like 3, 4 years where I wasn't in a relationship. And then I went another year and a half without being in one. And during those times, although I was dating, I still was by myself. Like, I still went home and it was just me. And I didn't have someone to say, like, yeah, that's my boyfriend. And really just be with someone. So I had those moments of it just being like, it's just you, Michelle. And you have to be okay with just being you. Or it just being you. Although you may not want it to be. And then what made it worse was that we're in the social media era now. This is social media times. And like I've said before, I love social media, but I also fucking hate it. I'll be the first one to say that. I sometimes hate social media because, granted, people post what, and you have that idea in your head that people post what they want you to see. Clearly, people are not going to show you the hard times. They're not going to talk about the hard times. They're not going to talk about the downs of the ups. And that's why I always make sure to put my realistic stories, and even my friends telling me their realistic stories and them being okay with me sharing it, about how life really is. It's not all peaches and cream and sunshine and turning up and lit. It's not that all the time. So when you look at Instagram and when you look at Facebook and TikTok and all of this and that and the third, and you see everybody living the life that you want, them in relationships, they're married, they're having kids, they're buying homes, they're doing this, they're doing that, it also makes you feel a way and makes you question yourself, like, what am I not doing right? Even if you're doing everything right. So being okay and coming to the understanding and accepting the fact that you're by yourself is the first thing. The second thing is I guess asking yourself, why are you alone? Why are you single? And really being honest with yourself. Is it always the guys? Is it the guys that you're always choosing? Or is it you? Which I guess can be the same thing. Like, well, maybe it's you and maybe it's not them. Or maybe it is them. But that also has to go back to you. Why you keep choosing the same guys? And it's also a thing of self-evaluation. I had to do a lot of self-assessing in the last, since COVID, honestly. And this is why I say, I feel like COVID was a blessing and yet it was a curse. And I say this because it took a lot of people, I think a lot of people were able to reevaluate themselves and think about all the things that they were doing or that they weren't doing. And I feel like for me, COVID kind of turned me around and said, okay, Michelle, you gotta stop doing certain things that you've been doing. And you have to start doing certain things that you want to do. And while it's definitely hard to do that switch, and there's no time limit as to when you're supposed to do this switch, and I wish people would stop making it seem like you got to do it now. No, you have to move now, but you have to change your mindset now. But to have all the results in what you're trying to change is not going to happen as fast as you think it would, or it should happen. But having to reevaluate who it is you give your time to and who you invest your time in. I think that's another way to not overcome lonely. Well, I guess overcome loneliness, but understand why you're lonely. Why do you feel like no relationships last? Why do you feel like they always leave? Or why do you feel like they, always say, oh, you got a bad attitude, or you have this and you have that? Some people feel like, oh, it's not me, it's them. Well, if all of them are saying that you got a nasty ass attitude, how the hell is it them and not you? If every last one of them said your attitude is disgusting. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a different, it all depends on the situation. But you have to take accountability for yourself to see what it is you're doing wrong. So, like I was saying, for myself, so when I was going through my my time of just being alone and not really taking anybody serious, I had to reevaluate the guys that I was giving my time to. And I had to, honestly, I did this more than once, because I ended up still going back to the same guys that I would always talk to. And it wasn't until literally recently, right after my last relationship ended, where I had to seriously think about who am I giving my time to, and think about the guys that I was dating at the time, and think they're all the same. Every last one of them are the same. Yeah, they're from different, they were from different boroughs. Yeah, they had different things going on for themselves, but at the same time, they were all the same. They all had the same type of mindset. They all had the same type of personality. They really didn't want the same things that I wanted, although they made it seem like they did. I had to understand that even if I was in a relationship, I still was getting the same outcome, which was then leading me to being alone, because they were doing exactly what it is I didn't want them, I didn't want in a partner. But because I wanted to be married and I wanted to have kids and I wanted what I wanted, and I've been saying this, that I thought I would be married and have kids by 25. You couldn't tell me that I wasn't going to have that. But the fact that I didn't have it, the fact that, I'm 32 now, still not married, still no kids, have my own place, but have my own car, can travel, can do what I need to do, by the grace of God, I still didn't have exactly two of the things that I wanted, which was kids and a husband. And again, like I thought at 25 I'd be done. I would have all this. So seeing that, oh well, shit, another failed relationship. I literally had to tell myself, even after that relationship ended, when I was going on dates, it was like, hold on, this is a repeat of the same thing that I'm used to getting. They're doing the same thing that he was doing. And I literally had to just sit back, think about it, and it was like a aha moment. And I cut everybody off. Like I just, you know what, this isn't gonna work. Hope everything works out for you, yada yada yada. Of course, some of them were very immature, but other ones were just like, all right, cool, no problem. We can still be friends, yada yada, whatever. But I had to understand that I was constantly going to be alone if I kept going in the same circle that I was putting myself in. And that, like I said, that's why I say number 2 is to do a lot of self-evaluating. See if it's something that you're doing. And even if it's nothing that you're doing, if you can say that there's nothing, like literally nothing, which might be bullshit, because we all have something that we do that is either a toxic trait or toxic trait. I was gonna get it out. Or something that would not fly in a relationship, or something that somebody said to you in any of your past relationships and told you like, yo, you need to cut it out. Like that is just not even cute, or I don't think it's fun. I don't think it's funny. It's not ladylike, whatever. Or even for the guys, like if a female always says like, you have this problem that you do X, Y, and Z, or you think by talking this way, like whatever trait you had that people constantly had to keep telling you to stop doing, and you thinking like, oh no, it's them. But like I said, it can't be them if all of them are saying the same thing or something similar to the same thing that the other person was saying. So that's the other part. Take some note about yourself and what it is you're doing. Now this next one, some of you might skip over. Like I said it in the beginning, I'll never force spirituality or God or religion on anybody. So if it's not your thing, or you're not there yet, or you don't believe in it, that's on you. That's not on me. But I'm going to share my side about how I feel like, and this has led me to number 3, God's trying to tell you something and you're not listening. And I had to, again, come to this understanding recently. I had to come to this understanding when, even recently, having to just reevaluate how I was going about things, what I was doing, who I was dating, who I was giving my time to, and seeing why it wasn't working in any of the relationships of my past, and come to the understanding that God was trying to tell me something the entire time, but my hard-headed ass did not want to listen. And I refused to listen. I would ask God to help me, right? I'll always say like, God, send me a sign. Let me know if I'm doing the right thing. Let me know if this is the right person for me. If it's not, please remove them. And every time I said that, God would remove it. He wouldn't, like, it wouldn't just be a straight, like, a clean removal. Like, it wouldn't be just something like we just stopped talking out of nowhere. But there was always an argument. There was always a disagreement. We never saw eye to eye. They ended up cheating, or they ended up lying, or they ended up doing something that pissed me off, that irritated me, something that I didn't accept in a relationship. And that was God's way of trying to tell me, hello, hi, get out. You wanted an answer. You wanted me to try to help you out. I'm helping you out here, yet you keep going back to the same thing I'm trying to get you out of. That you've asked me to get you out of, but yet you keep going back to it. God was constantly sending me signs. Every relationship, every failed relationship, and well, hell, they were all failed relationships. But every relationship that I was in, God was sending me a sign. Like, yeah, no, that's not it. Yeah, no, that's not it either. I'm like, yeah, no, that's not it either. And the red flags were there. I wear glasses. Sometimes it takes me a while. My eyes gotta adjust. But the red flags were there. And God was constantly telling me, no, Michelle, he ain't it. But I'm gonna let you do your thing though. But when you need me, I'm right here. Even now, in dating, God had to get me to understand that before I bless you with something, before I give you what it is you're asking for, I need you to have a closer relationship with me. I need you to hear what it is I'm telling you. Listen to the signs, hear the signs, see the signs, and listen to what it is I'm trying to tell you, so that way you don't get into the same situation that you were in before. And when I tell you, when you sit back and you really listen and you really hear and you really just like it sounds, I don't want to say it sounds weird, but it sounds like, especially for anybody who's never really dug or dove into their spirituality and dove into getting a relationship with God, it may sound like, yeah, okay, whatever. How is somebody that I don't even know? I know he exists, but somebody I don't even see, how am I supposed to rely on that? That's the hard part, is to rely on someone that you don't see. But when I tell you, when you listen to it, because it's always a voice telling you, don't do that. There's always a voice telling you, that's not it. There's always some type of sign that's showing you, stop doing that. Or like caution or SOS, stop, yield, that's not it. There's always some type of sign. And you'll notice it and you'll see it. We just tend to ignore it. But when you eventually do that and you eventually hear him, you get another aha moment, like, oh, so this is what he was saying. Okay. And you just really get to like fully understand once you say, okay, fine, God, I'm gonna do it your way. I'm not gonna do it my way, I'm gonna do it your way, because clearly the way I've been doing it hasn't been working. And the people I've been choosing, they haven't been working. So I'm gonna let you do what it is you know best for me. And again, I know it's difficult because you're trusting in someone whom you don't see. You know who's there, or at least you have a thought of this person being there or this entity being there, but you just never see him. But you could hear him. You just have to be in tune with it. You have to let yourself really have that moment and saying, like, you know what, that didn't come from me. That wasn't my decision. This was somebody else made this decision for me. They put this in my mind to say, you know what, this is what you need to do. And again, it's scary, especially when you want a relationship and when you've been asking and praying for something specific and you're not getting it, or you haven't gotten it yet. There's something he's trying to tell you. I'm trying to get you to see that everybody who you've been choosing is not who I have called to be your partner. I have not called this person to be with you. Yet you keep going back to the same well that I'm telling you is dry. Everybody be talking about the dating pool, got piss in it. It do. It does. But if you keep dating the same guys, you keep dating the same females who, I wouldn't say necessarily look the same, because you're attracted to what and who you're attracted to. But I feel like if they all have the same type of traits that have led you to being lonely now, well, then that's something that you need to improve on and evaluate. Like, okay, I don't need or don't want to be around people who were the same as the people in my past, because clearly it didn't work. So let me try something different. And that's also difficult too, to try something different when you're used to a certain type of lifestyle and you're used to a certain type of person, And it just gives you like, and I've heard some women say like, it just gives me that spark, and it just gives me that, it just makes me feel this way, and it makes me feel that. Well, then that just you feel that way for a little bit. You feel that spark, you feel that, oh, he gives me this I don't even know, like, just gives you that feeling of being wanted, or whatever word you want to use. And then eventually it dies out, because it was just, that just happened just to get you in, like, to get you in the circle, to get you closer to him or get you closer to her. Now that they have you, well, now it's gonna stop, because it's like, well, I got you now, so what do I need to do that for? But again, that's also God trying to tell you, like, all right, this is not somebody who I said I want you to be with. You said you wanted someone who is caring and loving and would always give you that care and the love and the affection. I heard you. But are you going to let me do it, or are you going to keep doing it? And then wondering why you're not happy. So, again, the third thing is letting God do his thing. Don't sit here and worry about when it's going to happen. And again, I know it's so difficult, because we have this timeline in our head as to how we see our life going. But every time we think about that, it just makes you even more angry. It makes you even more, you question yourself, if whether or not you're supposed to be in a relationship. You question, if it's you, are you doing something wrong? And now makes you feel like you're the problem, and again, you're supposed to take the self-evaluation. You're supposed to change things about yourself. But when it gets to the point of you feeling like down, and you feel sad, and you feel depressed, then that's not the objective here. It's to get you to reevaluate what it is you're doing, that you could possibly be doing, that's causing for yourself to be lonely constantly, when you've been giving yourself and giving your time to relationships. The fourth thing is getting to know you. Getting to know who you are. And I feel like a lot of people feel like they know who they are. They know, like, oh, I like to do this, I like to do that, I like to, everybody has like a hobby or something that they're interested in. But really getting to know, like, what do you like to do for fun? And that's always the question that's asked, like, on like a first date. So what do you like to do for fun? What interests you? What's like your favorite thing to do? I feel like we all have, like, that's always a common question to, like, that somebody asks on the first date. So finding out what it is you like to do for fun. And you may not even know. You may think like, oh, like, so for myself, I always said, like, it's shopping, and it's going to the movies. Like, shopping is, to me now, like, I go shopping online. I don't even think like I've bought anything. No, I did. I bought something from the store for New Year's Eve. Bought shoes for the first time in the store for New Year's Eve. But before then, it was just, I always shop online. So shopping was no longer something fun. Going to the movies. I don't mind going to the movies by myself. I will sit in the movie theater and enjoy my little time and my little piece to myself and watch a movie and give myself like a little date. I've even actually gone to the mall and had my own little lunch and watched a movie like by myself. And at first it felt kind of weird, because I was like, am I really doing this by myself? And I could have asked like friends, I could have asked anybody to come with me, but I really just was like, no, I kind of want to be by myself. I'm okay. I'm good with it just being me. And then realizing that I like to write. I like to listen to podcasts. I like to the race car driving. I like doing stuff like that. I like going to football games. I like doing interactive, fun dates. It doesn't necessarily always have to be going out to eat. Don't get me wrong. I like me a good restaurant. I do. I am a food person. But to say that that's my one thing that I like to do is just to eat, no. Like, there's more things that in my loneliness I learned about myself that I never thought that I would take interest into. Like, me and my friend Akeem went to a jazz bar. I think it was like a jazz bar or something like that. And I always listen to jazz, like whenever I'm doing something busy, like if I'm trying to figure out the next topic for the podcast, or if I'm just writing, or if I'm even just cleaning. Sometimes I don't want to listen to hip hop and all my ratchet music. I sometimes just want to hear an instrument and just think and go about my business and doing what I have to do. And I've learned to like jazz. My grandmother always played jazz music in her house, and when I was young. And at first I was just like, so boring. But as you get older, you see and feel the calmness in it, and how you can get so many things done by just listening to an instrument and probably a few other melodies in the back. But that was something I didn't really think I would enjoy until I actually did it. And just other things that I'm still learning, that I'm still like discovering on, like even on Instagram, on TikTok, when you do see stuff like that and people have say, oh, try going here, or try going to this, or try going to that. And I'm just like, really? Like, I never thought of that being a thing. Like, remember when paint and sip was a thing? I don't even know if it is still a thing, but everybody was doing paint and sip. Now it became a thing that everybody just, or it had became a thing that everybody just did, and now it's like we're moving on to the next thing, which I don't even know what the next thing is. But you get what I'm saying. Like, just finding out and trying new things for yourself. And sometimes it can be by yourself. And there's nothing wrong with that. You're not a loner, you're not a loser. You're none of that stupid shit that other people have said, or people who do say. Because I've heard people say that. Like, oh, you're going by yourself? What are you, alone? Like, no, I'm just enjoying my own freaking time here. I'm enjoying myself. Taking me out on a date. And doing that for yourself. And enjoying it. And seeing if you don't enjoy it, then you don't enjoy it. But at least you could say you did it. And you got to see whether or not it was something for you. And maybe this is something that you'll want to do in the future with the person that you end up being with. And then you can say, like, this is something that I took and I enjoyed. And even if they don't find enjoyment in it, at least you could say that this is something that I like to do. And being okay with going on a date by yourself, even if your partner is not interested in something that you like to do. Like, for me, when I broke up with my ex that I was on and off with for 5 years, I was in the gym heavy. Like, not only did I see a difference physically, but I saw a difference mentally of how I was feeling. And that breakup was a lot in its own. But seeing how I was able to understand and get over the things that had happened, the gym helped me to release it. And helped me to move on from everything that had happened. So even now, going to the gym, not only because I'm gaining weight faster than I could say gain weight, because I'm getting older and my metabolism is slowing down even slower than what it was before, but also just wanting to stay physically active. I also know how it made me feel when I was by myself and how I felt. And even now, dating someone new, I still have to keep that in mind and not stray away from the things that I like to do, just because I also like being around this person. I also like being around him and what he gives me and how we act towards each other, but also knowing that the gym is now a part of my life, and this makes me feel my happiest outside of him making me feel happy. And crazy enough, me and him were having this conversation actually yesterday, that it's important for us to have our own traits, or our own hobbies, I guess. Yeah, hobbies, not traits. Our own hobbies and our things that we like, and not to forget them even when we're in a relationship. Like, of course, you're always going to want to do things together. But you have to remember what has kept you afloat when you were by yourself. And the good things, not the bad things, which I hope, people didn't resort to drinking or drugs or acting out sexually. And if you have it, it's okay in a sense of you had to go through that to understand that that's for you. And I hope that's the understanding that, you can overcome it, and you don't necessarily have to be, you don't have to go through that in order to get over your loneliness. There's other things that you can branch off into besides doing those three things. But I think, like we both had said, we have to keep in mind what makes us happy solely before what makes us happy together. Because you have to remember who you are and be okay with being by yourself, and be okay with knowing that you're not going to be around your partner 24/7. You're not going to be around the person who you're dating all the time. So when, you're going through the week and after work, and, what are you doing for yourself? Are you just going to sit in the house and not do nothing because they can't see you? Or if they're doing their own thing on the weekend, what are you going to do on the weekend to keep yourself active and to keep yourself at a happy, in a happy space? Basically not forgetting who you are even when you're in a relationship. So taking the time out to really get to know what makes you you. Like dancing, boxing, like I said, it could be trying new restaurants, it could be a cooking class, it could be, what is the thing? Pottery. Doing pottery. It could be anything that can make you who you are, and add to your list of hobbies and what you like. So one of my friends, I actually asked them this topic. They were supposed to get on this episode, but I kind of did mention it to people late, so it's my fault. But I did ask their opinion as to how they overcome loneliness. And a lot of them said, "Oh, I'm lonely now, and I don't know how to overcome it." I'm just like, and I asked them, I gave them the suggestions of everything that I just mentioned. And a lot of them were saying, it sounds good, it sounds easy to do, but when you really sit in it and you really evaluate what it is you're going through, and really being by yourself, when you see everybody else in a relationship, and you can't say it's a happy relationship because everybody's not going to tell you the bullshit and the nonsense that they go through, but just seeing people in a relationship has made them feel overwhelmed, sad. Again, the whole question of, am I the problem? Doubting that they'll ever be in one, doubting that there'll ever be somebody realistic in their life that they can be with. And I guess it is, and I won't say that it's not difficult. Like I've said that before, I don't think overcoming it is not easy. It takes a while. Even for myself, I didn't just overcome it in one day. I didn't just say, snap out of it in 24 hours. It took me a while. It took me a while, even after the breakup, for me to say, all right, Michelle, you gotta do this by yourself. And you have to figure out what it is you like and what it is you don't like again. And really put down in cement what you're expecting for the next guy that comes into your life, and what they need to have in order to be sufficient for you, and to be the guy that the man that you've prayed for and that you've manifested. What is it that I had to first understand that what I was doing wrong, and what I kept going after. So, and then also, like I said, what was I, who was I again? like what was interesting to me, what was going to be a part of me. Who is this new person that I was becoming, and who is this person that I wanted to be as a grown woman now? Completely different from who I was in my 20s to now being who I wanted to be in my 30s is different. So it's definitely, it's evaluating yourself and evaluating what it is, like I said, you like and what you don't like, and what you expect from the next person that you date, and what you don't expect from the next person that you date. What you want versus what you don't want. And again, it takes a minute. It takes a minute. It's not as quick as everybody makes it seem. It's not the whole, oh, fuck them and go move on and talk to somebody else. Like, it's cool and all to help get you over someone, but at the end of the day, you never really heal. You never really get over it. You still have this feeling of, what am I doing wrong? Or you still have this feeling of, well, shit, it ended. Why did it end? Like, it's never a complete feeling of being at peace with just who you are, because you always end up going into another relationship, or you always end up going into dating someone else. So even when I was having this conversation, like I said, with my friends, they kept saying like social media was making it hard for them to not see it. And hearing their own friends have happy stories and happy endings was difficult. And it is. Again, we're at that age now where you want stability and you want marriage and children. And if you don't have it already, that's exactly what you want. But if you do have children, you kind of want to have a stable home. And again, whether that's walking down the aisle, or just being together forever and having a long-term commitment, whatever it may be, just knowing that it can happen. It just has to be the right time. And maybe this time of loneliness is a time for you to really get to know who you are, and then also step into getting to know who God is, getting to know what He has for you, what He wants for you, and being okay with being by yourself and relying on someone else who can give you everything that you're asking for, but on their time and not on yours. And that's another thing that was just so difficult. And even now it's still difficult to just say like, all right, I'm not going to work on my timing. I'm going to just work on His timing. And whatever He says goes. When it happens, it happens. And trying to control your frustration in it all. Because it's frustrating. To say that it's not, and anybody tells you that it's not, they're bullshitting. It is frustrating. And you have to really just be okay with just being by yourself and letting it just be you. And again, like I said, it doesn't take, it's not a one-time thing. It doesn't take, like I said, 24 hours. It doesn't take 48 hours. It doesn't take a week. It may not even take a month. It may take a while. But you have to find what makes you happy. You have to find what helps you out to get through those moments of, damn, I wish I was still in a relationship, or damn, I wish I had a partner, or damn, I wish, I'd have a wife by now. You have to find an outlet somewhere. And even in saying like finding an outlet, you have to find a healthy outlet. Let me be clear in saying that too. Don't just do things because it just seems good for the moment and you see everybody else doing it, because it's like a 9 out of 10 chance people are just doing it to cope, and they're not really doing it for real true happiness. It's just to subside the real feelings that they're having and to let go of the hurt and the pain. But find something that truly makes you happy, that you can say, you know what, I find like true happiness is like, I want to do this every day. Like, I want to do it every day. Like, I wake up every day and I want to go to the gym. Like, for me, go to the gym. Like, right after work, I'm like, all right, boom, gym. Not all the time. Sometimes I don't go. I'm not going to hold you. Sometimes on my days off, I don't feel like going either. But just having something that's healthy, that is an outlet for you to release stress and to release the anger and the frustration, and also something that will I guess add to who you are, like I said, and taking it one day at a time too. That's another thing. And the other thing that I feel like definitely what everybody needs is a group of friends, or like maybe one or two friends, because you don't need a big group, but like one or two friends who you can speak about these things and they understand it, and they can give you real harsh but needed advice about yourself. Because we all need critical advice. We all need good criticism as to what it is we're doing wrong. And it's difficult to take. Like, I don't even like taking good criticism, but it does help. And just listening to what it is that they're saying, or even if they text you, like reading what it is that they're saying and how they see it from looking on the outside, looking in. And especially if they all are in, like, if their answers all are the same, and it's not just one person saying one thing and somebody else saying something completely different, but if all their answers are basically similar, then you know that, okay, this is something that you have to now reevaluate with yourself. Like, that word, I constantly keep using it, because there is a lot of reevaluation in overcoming loneliness. At least I feel that way. Because I feel like you can't fully come to terms with being by yourself until you take a snapshot of your life and see what it is that's been going on that has caused you to still be lonely and not be in a relationship. And again, it may, and this is why I say you have to bring in those 2 or 3 friends that know you the best and has seen you through the ups and downs, has seen you date the girls that you've dated, date the guys, or see the guys that you have dated, and be able to say, you know what, like, and they should be the ones to tell you, like, straight up, like, you know that, so you've dated this person, that person, and this person, right? And all 3 of them, let's just say it's 3, all 3 of them had X, Y, and Z in common. And you notice that after the 3 months, because remember the podcast I posted, or I recorded about the 3-month rule. If you guys haven't listened to that one, go listen to that. The 3-month rule of everybody putting on their best foot forward. They're the nicest, they're the cutest, everything is baby this, baby that. And then after the 3 months, everybody just gets comfortable. And you start to really see sides of people that you're just like, wait, you really do that? Like, that's really a thing for you? And while the signs may have been there in the beginning, you ignored it because you were in this happy moment. You were in the honeymoon stage. You were infatuated with how they look, how they dress, what they can do for you. But altogether, they've had these problems and they announced it loud and clear, yet you chose to ignore it. So if you have those 2 or 3 friends that can point that out to you and say, this is what you're doing, this is who you're dating, and this is why you're lonely, because they keep giving you the same runaround. You keep getting the same things back and forth because you don't come to the understanding, or you don't come to grips with what it is you're allowing to happen in your life. And the last thing, besides having critical friends who are going to tell you exactly what you need to hear, you also need to not date just because you're lonely. Like, and stop being okay with what you're getting because you're not getting exactly what you want right now. If that makes sense. Like, Stop accepting the bare minimum because you want to be lonely, or you don't want to be lonely, rather, and just put a break on it and put a pause on it until someone can give you everything that you want. But stop accepting the bare minimum because you don't want to be lonely. Like, one of my friends was doing this, and I told her, like, and I had an honest conversation, like I said before, like a conversation that you have to have with your friends. And I said to her, you're accepting what it is you really don't want because you want to be in a relationship so badly. And it made me think back to me. And when I was doing that, I was okay with the bare minimum because I felt like, you know how women, we normally feel like we could be Mrs. Fix-It, and we always want to try to fix a guy. When you can't fix a guy, they have to want to do it because you naturally bring that out of them and because they want to do it for you. But I had to tell her to stop dating guys just because of that wanting to be in a relationship. Because I get it. Like I said, we're all at that age. Well, majority of my friends are all 30 and older. I think like one of them is probably 27, 28, or two of them. But they're also in that same mindset of they want stability. They want a guy who is going to be everything that they wrote down, all the things that they manifested. They want that. And it's obtainable. It's not like it's not. But again, we have to pause on what it is in our timing sometimes and just allow for God, or even if y'all don't believe in God, if y'all want to say the universe, the stars, the zodiacs, whatever, to bring the right person to you. I know, like, for my guy friends, a lot of them are, they'll make it seem like they're not really in a rush. Like, they'll make it seem like, yo, I'm just enjoying life, going out, traveling, X, Y, and Z. But when I really, like, have a conversation with them about it, or if, like, we ever really speak on things deeper than just going out and enjoying ourselves, you do hear them say, like, nah, I want to have a wife. Like, I want to have somebody who's for me. But it's so hard to find that nowadays when people are really just dating just to date, and they just want to, we're doing us, and there's no substance behind the actual date. They're just here, and you're just with them. And I get it, because that's what a lot of people in my generation and the generation behind me are really into, this whole, like, no labels bullshit. And I don't understand it. I never did. But I feel like it's just a defense for people to not be vulnerable, for people to keep their feelings hidden, their emotions hidden away, tucked away, because they don't want to get hurt. And they know so many people out here are here to play games. But there are also people out here who really want what you want. They're just scared to do it just as much as you're scared to do it. But somebody has to make the first step. And the conversation also has to be had. But nonetheless, I said to her, don't dim down your true wants and what you have written down on your list for that husband of yours, just so you can date guys who are not giving you that at all. Like, not even a little bit. Who are so one-dimensional. Like, she gave me the okay for me to say this, so I'm gonna say it. And I'm not putting all her business out there, but I'm gonna just say, there was this one guy that she was dating, and it irritated me so bad. But it was just one guy that she was dating, and it all seemed cool. Like, again, it all seemed cool in the beginning. But all he kept doing was taking her to the Barclays. And I was just like, friend, is he one-dimensional? Does he not know anything else? Can he not do anything else? And why he always kept sending her, or kept the dates kept being at the Barclays because he worked for the Barclays. So I'm like, oh, so he's cheap. Okay, because that's where he works. And although some things may have been okay, like going to a basketball game, that's cool, but I'm not going to a basketball game every weekend. I'm not that invested into basketball that I want to go every weekend. Can we go do something else? Can we go to a restaurant? Can we go, well, it's the winter time, so can we go ice skating? Can we go do something other than sitting down at the Barclays, drinking, and enjoying a game? Like I said, it's cool to do here and there. I have nothing against going to a basketball game. I don't. But, sweetheart, it's given one-dimensional. I need you to have a little more things in your pocket. I need you to have more date ideas in your pocket. And he wasn't having that. And he always had, these excuses of, I got this going on, I got that going on, X, Y, and Z. And it just turned out to be something completely different. But I, again, told her, and as she kept dating other people, she started to see the patterns. And she started to see, like, what they were all saying, what she was doing. And, again, she's still overcoming it. And like I said, it doesn't take 24 hours. It doesn't take 1 or 2 tries. It takes a few for you to then say to yourself, like, damn, maybe I need to really start doing X, Y, and Z instead of doing A, B, and C, because it's clearly not working the way that I've been doing it. So maybe I have to change it. I have to, again, reevaluate what it is that I'm doing. And going on this journey of being alone and going on the journey of it's okay that you're by yourself. So that was one friend who had that. And my other friends were having the same kind of situations, but there was another friend of mine who, she kept going in the same circles and thinking it was like, what are these guys? Like, why are they constantly playing with me? And what's the issue? And why are they doing X, Y, and Z? And she would constantly go from like guy to guy to guy to guy to guy. And it was just out of, again, wanting to be in something and wanting to be in something solid and finding her forever person that I had to break it off to her like, sweetheart, your attitude, nobody's putting up with that. And she thought I was joking. Like, she thought, like, my attitude is not that bad. And then she came back, and after I told her about her attitude, she was like, well, if they can't handle it, then they're not the ones for me. I said, then nobody will be for you. Because who wants to put up with all of that sassy ass attitude? Don't get me wrong. There are times where you may have to flex a little something. If it's needed. Only if it's needed. Like, and it doesn't have to be an aggressive way. It could just be, you can literally say it like this. Like, who are you talking to? And, like, are you in your right mind right now? Like, let's have a conversation, because you clearly got me, you got me fucked up. It's okay to sometimes have to put your foot down and sometimes having to address something that may be bothering you when you're dating someone or you're in a relationship. And that goes into the next episode of the podcast that I'm going to do, is respectfully checking your partner. But being able to tell them when something is bothering you, and it coming off in a, not an aggressive way, not in an angry way, not in a belittling way either, but having to say, hey, I don't like how you're doing X, Y, and Z. I don't like how you are speaking to me. I don't like how you're talking to me in front of your friends, in front of your family. I don't like how you, whatever it may be. Being able to say that without it coming off like you have a badass attitude. And she has a badass attitude. And again, using the word, she has to reevaluate herself and what it is she says and what she, in order to find that person who she's going to be with. But you can't have this feeling of, well, this is my attitude and either you're going to deal with it or you're not. Well, then you're never going to find someone who's going to deal with it. And if you do find somebody who is like, I just like that spiciness, I just like that attitude that they have, it ain't gonna last that long. Or they're not gonna be faithful that long, at least. Because after a while, they're gonna get tired of it. You're an adult. Adults don't like being talked to. They don't like being talked at. Like, talk to me, don't talk at me. So when you constantly have that nasty attitude, when you constantly have that spicy mouth, and you constantly have this I can say what I want to say mindset, you're going to turn somebody off eventually. Even for guys too. Like, I know some guys who do not know how to talk to ladies. And it's like, yo, how do you, like, who taught you how to speak to women like that? Oh, no, it's not even. No, but it is like that, though. Like, why are you even getting that? Why are you so aggressive? Like, relax, calm down. It's not that deep. Like, you need to know how to articulate yourself without being disrespectful. And a lot of the times, like I said, both women and men don't know how to do that. And thinking that, somebody's going to be able to, they'll just take it. No, you're going to end up being alone by yourself all the time because people are not going to be okay with it. Watch your tone. Watch how you talk to people. The same way you want somebody to talk to you is the same way you should want to talk to other people. And again, I get it. Sometimes you got to show a little something. But it's also a way in how you do that as well. So that was something I also had to tell her. And she was, she was also one that was saying that she always felt lonely. But I was like, but there's certain things that you're doing. And again, even with myself, I had to reevaluate me always arguing. I thought arguing was just a way of communicating. And not realizing, no, Michelle, arguing is arguing. Communicating is communicating. And I had to sit and really I had to analyze all the conversations. Well, not all of them, because I couldn't think back to all of those. But think of some of the conversations that I've had that turned into arguments when it didn't have to be. Had I had known for myself the difference between communicating and arguing. But that is the end of the episode, guys. Thank you guys for listening. Again, it's not easy. It's not a one-time shot type of thing where, it's easy to overcome loneliness, and it's easy to just let the thought of being alone go in your mind. It's hard. Nobody likes to do it. Nobody wants to be alone for the rest of their life. Unless you do. I don't think you do. But unless you do, then okay. But for those of us who don't want to be alone for the rest of our life, you have to first be okay with it in that season. You have to accept that that's where you are right now. And maybe this is because you have to either get your personal life in order. Maybe you have to get your financial life in order. Maybe you have to get your mental life in order. Maybe you have to find a hobby. Maybe you have to just get spiritually connected with God or whatever God that you believe in. Maybe that's somebody who you have to get closer with. Maybe you just need to find out who you are. And that's why you're lonely. Because you keep accepting the same things over and over again that are clearly not working. You clearly keep getting into these relationships that end up failing because you're not evaluating everything within yourself. And we all have to do it. Every last one of us has to do it. It's uncomfortable. It's something that we may not like. But it is something that I feel is critical, and I've learned that it's critical to do. Like, again, even now, like I said, I'm still learning things about myself. Like, I'm still seeing things that, okay, I can change how I do this, or let me try this out, and let me see how I am in this type of environment, and just adding that to I guess if you want to call it your profile of who you are, you can call it that too. But it takes time. It takes time. It's not an overnight process. It's not an overnight deal. But with the right set of people in your circle, with the right mindset, and with the right things that you can use and learn from. Like, I have a planner that I actually put together myself. It's on Etsy. It's in the link when you go into the Drinks After Work _podcast IG. I made a planner for women to start over and for gentlemen. And it gives you a section in there where you can like just brain dump and put all the things that is going on in your mind and everything that you're evaluating in your brain, and just write it down and see what needs to be evaluated, what needs to be let go of, what you need to work on, what isn't as serious as you're making it. And it's a bunch of other things that I've put in those planners, but you guys should download them. I think they're $7. It's a digital one, but you can also print them out and have a hard copy if you want. I think I also put like a link in there where you can DM me and I'll print it out for you. And I think they're printing out for me to do it. I think they're printing out $30, but it's like not a thick hardcover book, but it's a hardcover book nonetheless. And I can print it out for you, and we'll ship it, and there won't be it's free shipping. But then you'll just have a hardcover book instead of just having digital. But you can also just download it to your phone for digital if you want to do that as well. And I use it for myself, like. Even this year, even though I can't believe we're in March already. It's crazy. But the last 2 months of just evaluating everything, like I said, knowing what it is that I want, letting go of the things that I don't want, being okay with where I'm at right now, looking forward to the future, and just taking everything one day at a time. And although, yes, having a podcast, you have to be on social media, I still give myself some breaks. I still give myself some time to just be like, you know what, I'll look on social media tomorrow and not today. And I think that also helps as well when you're overcoming your loneliness, is to stop paying attention to everybody else and stop being influenced by everyone else in a negative way, not in a positive way. Because there are ways that you can be influenced positively, and there are ways that it will make you have the most anxiety, the most frustration. And I think overcoming that, overcoming loneliness, I think going on IG and going on TikTok and seeing that it can be rather negative, because you see so many couples, you don't know the whole story behind what they've been through. But I've heard people even say, even for myself, it's like, oh, I want that, or I wish I could have that. But it's just like, you're not living in where you're supposed to be at. And you turn it into I wish and being envious. You don't realize that you're being envious, but you are being envious to an extent. And seeing as, one day that will happen for me. But right now, this is where I'm at. Even if it's uncomfortable, right now, this is where I'm at. So, get the planner. I hope you guys, again, the link is at the top of the Drinks After Work. It's also in my personal Instagram, Sincerely Shelly. And you can download your journal for women, and there's a journal for men. And yeah, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I hope you guys have a great night. I hope you have a good day tomorrow. Whatever happened today, leave it in today. Don't bring it into tomorrow. It already happened. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. I will see you guys next week. Later.